All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving deep into a business plan that isn't just about a new product. Nope. This is a blueprint, a strategy designed to completely demolish an entire industry. So let's break down how they plan to do it.
And yeah, they are not pulling any punches here. This is literally the opening line of their plan. Not a proposal to compete, but a proposition for demolition. And the target? The massive $3.2 trillion go-to-market industry. Their whole argument is that the current system is so fundamentally broken, the only real solution is to tear it all down and start over. We've seen this movie before, haven't we? A huge, old-school industry gets completely blindsided by a new model that just rewrites all the rules. The folks behind this plan are basically saying, hey, the world of sales and marketing, it's way, way overdue for exactly this kind of shakeup. Okay, but before you can build a new world, you have to prove the old one is falling apart. And the entire foundation of this plan rests on one single critical problem with the way things are now, a phenomenon they call dark shopping. Now, what's so fascinating here is that this number, it's really about us. It's about our own behavior. When you're looking into a new piece of software for your business, where do you go? You're on Reddit, Slack channels, review sites, all completely anonymous. And that means for 80 to 90% of the journey, companies are flying completely blind. Their entire sales funnel is dark until the very, very end. And being blind like that, well, it has a devastating financial cost. When you can only see that last 10% of the journey, your cost to get a new customer, your CAC, just goes through the roof. We're now at a point where it takes major companies 36 months to break even. I mean, for any founder or investor out there, a number like that is a death sentence for growth. 3 years just to get your money back? That's an eternity. And that financial pain, it creates a very real human cost. A 36-month payback period just crushes your company's valuation and makes real growth almost impossible. So what happens? You get a total breakdown of trust in the C-suite. It's why the average job length for a chief marketing officer has just plummeted. The old model isn't just inefficient, it's creating casualties. So, if the old way is so broken, what's the new way? This is where we get to the absolute core of the plan, and it's a brilliant analogy they call the Las Vegas thesis. It's a complete shift in how you even think about the problem. And this image just perfectly captures their vision. See, they're not trying to build another fancy attraction on the Las Vegas Strip. No, they're trying to own the entire city. The goal is to become the fundamental infrastructure for this new dark go-to-market world. And here is the absolute key takeaway. The ReadyStack plan isn't to be another app fighting for your attention. Their goal is to be the land. They want to provide the foundation that lets everyone else build their own casinos and hotels on top. Because, the house always wins. Okay, so that's a huge claim, right? You can't just say you're going to own the whole casino without an ironclad defense. So the plan lays out a system of 3 interconnected, unassailable moats designed to make this whole thing impossible for anyone else to copy. Let's dig into them. And these 3 moats, they work together in a sequence. The first moat, this huge structural advantage they have with their profit margin, is what directly funds the second moat, which is a social network built on huge payouts. And the third moat, their secret sauce IP, is what lets them actually make money from the whole anonymous system. Let's start with moat number 1, and you might be asking, how is this even possible? Well, most software companies rent their servers from places like Amazon Web Services, and that's a huge piece of their costs. ReadyStack, on the other hand, owns its own physical infrastructure, so their cost isn't a rental fee. It's a tiny 1.5% for stuff like maintenance. It's owning versus renting. And that difference, that's the entire game. Owning the land gives them a 98.5% operating margin. I mean, just stop and think about that. They keep almost 99 cents of every single dollar that comes in. This isn't just a software business. It's an infrastructure business dressed up as software. And that margin, that is the engine for everything else. So, what do you do with a ridiculously huge margin like that? Well, that brings us to moat number 2. They can afford to pay out a staggering 60% of their revenue back to the people in their ecosystem. 20% goes to whoever made the content, and an absolutely mind-blowing 40% goes to anyone who just shares the link that leads to a sale, and they get that for life. This is the key. It turns the simple act of sharing a link into a real, compounding financial asset. But wait, how do you make money if everyone is anonymous? That's moat number 3, their secret sauce, their intellectual property. The Predictive Conversion Score, or PCS, doesn't need your name or your email. It measures your commitment by looking at the depth of what you do. Did you just watch a 2-minute video, or did you spend 45 minutes building a complex workflow that solves a real business problem? That's the difference. Now, when you put these 3 moats together, this is where the financial model of a typical company gets completely flipped on its head. This is the new math, and it turns customer acquisition from a company's biggest expense into its main source of profit. I mean, the contrast here is just night and day. In the old model, you gamble. You spend a ton of money upfront on ads and sales, and you just cross your fingers and hope you break even in 3 years. In this new model, there is no upfront gamble. That 60% payout is only paid after the profit is already in the bank. They are literally getting paid to grow, which is a terrifying thought for any competitor stuck in the old model. So to really sum it up, this new model changes the very nature of the business. Your acquisition cost goes from being a fixed liability to a variable cost. Your profit margin isn't eaten up by sales and marketing, it's what funds the growth. And your partners, they're no longer just generating temporary leads for you. They're building a personal financial asset that lasts a lifetime. So after breaking all of this down, we come to one final, really provocative conclusion. If this model actually works, if this dark shopping thing is here to stay, and these 3 moats are as strong as they claim, then the implications are just enormous. And this is the question the whole plan leaves us with. If one company in your market can grow profitably from day one, while everyone else is stuck with a 3-year debt on every new customer, is that even a competition anymore? Or is the old way of doing business just over? That's the demolition they're talking about.